1, 2, 1, 2. All right. Everything sounds great.
Actually, a ranked fighter stepping back into the UFC rankings at this point in your career. I mean, does that have any meaning for you to be recognized with that?
No. Taking it fight by fight, honestly. I do. They asked me that question earlier too. I do think, of course, I think about the rankings. I know what rank. I'm aware of it. I'm just not attached to it.
Yeah. It is pretty neat, though, right? I mean, at this point in your career, like I know you're still a young guy, but you've been around for so long. It feels like you're better now, and that's not always the case. Does it feel that way to you, though, too? That like you're better now than you've ever been in your career?
Well, definitely. Of course, I am aware of that. I feel like that's what's supposed to happen. We're all supposed to always try and get better, not just as combatants or sportesians or whatever we do in life, but I think as human beings, we're always trying to be a better version of ourselves. That should be the ultimate goal, to bring ourselves closer to ourselves, because once we're born, we're already losing ourselves. We're given a name, we're given an identity, we're given religion, culture, and politics and all that crap, and we don't even know who we are, and we spend the rest of our lives trying to find ourselves. And most people get stuck in a niche, and they stay there thinking that's who they are. And then that's why they never grow. And that's why you have fighters, and just pertain to my sport from what I've seen, that don't advance or evolve their game because they think that's who they are. I don't know who I am yet, but I know one thing is that whoever I am is infinite, so why stop here?
Always wisdom, man. I like it. The last fight, I want to ask you, I mean, obviously you had to go through some adversity in that one. I wonder, do you take pride in that last fight because of the character and the adversity you had to show, or do you like look at it and go, oh, I shouldn't have had to, put myself in a bad spot?
No, none. Never, no remorse and no pride over it. It was just what happened. I can't take credit for that. He had a part to play in it. We knew he was going to be aggressive, and we were practicing that very move, that when he loads up that cross, that we don't have to take a shot. We could just duck the cross and take the back. So it was when I was doing it, it was like, oh wait, we were practicing it. We were just practicing this. But once again, like I said, I try not to have any attachments to my thoughts. I just go with the motion because that's all that matters at the moment. Having any attachment puts you in the past or in the future. So we just have to let go and be.
Very nice. In between, got to see you do some grappling as well. I'm curious, kind of what you take out of that. I mean, do you get the same experience or joy or pleasure out of competing in grappling that you do in a mixed martial arts fight?
It's definitely less nerve-wracking, to be honest with you. Like, I feel like I can go a lot more ham in grappling matches. Like, I can just take more risk and stuff like that. I'm not worried more about getting punched in the face and stuff. So, but no, it's fun. It's fun. It's great to do it. I feel like it helps me become more comfortable in grappling. I feel like that's been the biggest evolution of my game so far, is becoming more comfortable in grappling. Not necessarily going for more takedowns, but the fact that when the fight does get into close quarters combat, I'm not shying away from it. I'm not trying to break apart and get back to striking. I can really grind it out, and I enjoy being there. I used to not like it, but now I really like grinding, so it's just, I don't know, it's cool.
That's awesome. So you get this matchup with Sodiq, knowing that you don't watch a lot of fights and things like that. Did you know anything about him? Are you aware of what he brought to the table?
Yeah, we definitely know that because we called him out almost a year ago, and we tried to get that fight before. But they turned it down. Maybe he was still injured or whatever, and he's coming back because I know he had a big layoff. But we know that he's very similar to the last guy I fought. He's going to come straight in. He's going to walk you down. He's going to try and load up that cross. And I know with lefties, from what I've seen, he likes to reach that lead hand out and paw forward and try and suck you into that power side. So I see similarities. But yeah, we could utilize some of the same game plan. But honestly, when I get out there, I tend to adjust myself according to the situation. So, but yeah, he's a good opponent. He's tough. We know he's going to be in shape. We know he's going to be strong. The last guy was too. He hit hard as hell. But it's nothing that I've never seen before, and it's nothing that I'm not prepared for. I'm always prepared to lose, which I believe allows me to be prepared to win even more readily.
Another win here. You're going to be moving up those rankings that you're a part of right now. I mean, I know that you don't let yourself get too involved in it, but do you look at it and see like, oh, where would I end up? What matchup would that give me? What opportunities would that give to me?
I don't think about it like that. I just notice, like, okay, if I beat this guy, then I take his spot. Other than that, but I don't know. Like, I never really thought like, oh my God, I'm just like, okay, I'm ranked now. If anything, anything, I think about more like, how much are they paying me for this fight next year? But other than that, I'm not I really can't find importance, honestly speaking, I can't find importance in achieving more status or more fame or more glory through fighting. I find more importance in speaking with people and sharing my philosophies, my mind with them, because I feel like I tend to open up people's trains of thoughts sometimes when I start talking. And I find more enjoyment in that, honestly, but I just love fighting. I just love to get in there, and I didn't even try to get into UFC. If a lot of people don't even know that. My brother just took me to a tryout one time. I didn't know they existed, and I just tried out. And that's how I got on the Ultimate Fighter show, because I would have been just doing this somewhere else, if anything. But so I never really thought, this was never my goal. Then I'm being honest. I love what I do, and I'm going to do the very best I can fucking do, and I'm going to try and win every single fight. But I don't care to at the same time.
That's awesome. I guess that gives you some freedom, like you said. Last question for me, I guess. Where do you see this? I mean, how much longer does this journey go? Where does it? It's so amazing to see. I mean, you've grown up in front of us. You're clearly at peace. You're fighting better than you ever have. How long does this journey go on? Where does it take you?
Well, I guess if I set up one little lofty goal, was just to be the fighter with the longest running active career. And I know I'm closing in on the top guy right now who has 11 years, 11 and a half. And I think after one more year, I'm hitting 12. So I beat him out of the water. And now I figured I've seen fighters be fighting for a lot longer. So if I make it to 42, that's 20 years. Let's see who tops that.
It's funny you say that you're growing into being comfortable on the ground, and if it gets to that, I think when I first saw you, I always thought when you came on the scene that you were this guy with great submission skills and that you were growing into your hands. I thought lately that you've been more and more comfortable with your hands than ever before. But in your mind, is it switched? Were you more of a striker at first, and then now you feel like you're more of a grappler, or where did you see yourself when you came in as to where you are now?
So when I first started, I definitely was more of a wrestler and grappler. That's where I started training martial arts. That's what I was introduced to, So I definitely found myself submitting a lot of people more, but I also had pretty good striking. But I noticed that my striking would always be stifled because I would always have to watch out for wrestling, takedowns, and jiu-jitsu, and I wasn't as good as it. I see that you can see that my striking is getting better now. I'm getting more comfortable in striking because I'm more comfortable in wrestling. Because I know that the guy tries to take me down, I can stand it back up, or I can take him down and bring it to the floor if I need to. I feel more comfortable on my feet because now I'm not worried about getting taken down or getting bunched up or grabbed or whatnot.
What I've always loved about your style, which always kind of harkens back to the kung fu and being like water and flowing. I think when most people think of martial arts, they think that, some of that stuff is only good in martial arts, but does that stuff still shape your striking and when you go to become a better striker now? Because I think a lot of people think about MMA, it's got to be short to the point, quick, nasty elbows, maybe less beautiful strikes, but do you feel that there's still a point for that art of kung fu and letting that shape your striking going forward?
Well, definitely. I like to be as creative as possible, try to be as open as possible. I don't think... I feel like the better fights that I had against opponents that were more, straightforward and to the point, because then it's hard to deal with my movement, my agility, and my craftiness. So, no, definitely. I believe that there is a lot more room to grow in that. I think my jiu-jitsu is uniquely tweaked because of that. I try to flow into things, and you take less damage. One of the doctors that was like after when I got that knee to the face, he was like, "Oh, I saw what you did. The reason why I think I know why you didn't get knocked out, because once the knee was coming in, you were already moving with the knee instead of just taking it." So, and I notice I do that when I do get hit, I try to roll with the punches as much as possible. But that's a part of letting go. That's a part of not holding on to your stance. It's like, okay, he got it this time, got to go with it, so I take less damage and then go on to the next one. So, having just letting go of any attachment that you might have.
Is it tough, as the fight gets more grueling and as the rounds go on to kind of center yourself back to that? Is it tough, or does your corner, are they able to say something to you to help you kind of get back into that mindset? No,
I feel like as the fight goes on and the more damage is done, the more comfortable I get with fighting, honestly. The longer the fight goes on, the more comfortable I get in there. It's always the beginning that is the most nerve-wracking or the most, I guess, jumbled up in your brain. But once I start getting into it, once I took that illegal knee and I stood up, if you guys noticed, I didn't take no injury time. I tried to get in there as immediately as possible. I felt super comfortable. Like out there, okay, this is his best shot. You know, I try to make sure not to get hit like that again. It hurt and it works, but it just won't happen again. And then now I'm in the zone. Now I can see his range and catch his timing.
Last thing for me, I love the way that your brain works. I love the spiritual, but the mental side, the meditation side. So I guess if you could take us in your head in a session where, say, you want to sit down and center and meditate yourself, what sort of things are you using when you're trying to focus and meditate? What things are you thinking in your head? For those of us that like to try meditation, what works for you when you go into a little session?
Well, honestly, the best that I can do is just focus on my breath. I try to breathe deep into my belly, expand my diaphragm, and then push out starting with my belly to contract my diaphragm and take out all the stagnant air. But I try to focus on my breath. I try to follow my breath, ride on it all the way down, move through all my body and follow it back out. And once I start focusing on the breath, everything else starts to fall away. You start to not detach yourself to the random thoughts coming in at you. Sometimes I like to focus right here in between my eyebrows, but nothing on a particular thought or anything. I'm just focusing on my breath, focusing on the only thing that's really real, the moment now. Everything else is really just a projection of our own illusions. But other than that, the only thing that's real right now, I know that I breathe, I stay alive. And I know the more I breathe, the better I feel. And I focus on my breath, and everything else doesn't matter.
I love it. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
Alex,
Oh, there you are.
are you still not eating dairy and processed meats?
Yeah, I'm a completely vegan. I've been vegan for the past 10 years now.
Oh, really?
10 or 12, something like that. I don't know, I forget.
Oh, I was just going to say, how's that going?
Beautiful. I love it. I don't think, once again, I don't think about it. It's just the way that I do things. The reason why I was deterred is because I saw how it's obtained. And like he was mentioning before, I'm a big follower of martial arts, especially kung fu, ancient styles of martial arts, and the Shaolin monks are actually one of the people I looked up to, and what got me into more kung fu, especially because and one of the biggest things, their biggest philosophy is to do no harm, and they're all vegetarian, they're all or vegan, you know, and that's how I want to live my life. I want to try and do as little harm as possible as I achieve myself.
Awesome. And finally, there's those infamous YouTube videos of you street fighting. I just wanted to kind of go back and how did you, do you remember how you got there in the first place?
Yeah, I was training at the time it was called Young Tigers Foundation, and a guy named Level Martinez, who was a street fighter back in the day too, around the same time when Kimbo was coming up. And we rolled and we sparred a lot, and he said, "Oh man, you're pretty good, man. Hey, you want to come out and fight for us in the backyards?" Because I guess he was a part of the Latin syndicates and stuff, and he wanted me to represent their squad as we go out there and fight. And I'm like, all right, that'll be cool. You know, are they gonna pay me? And I'm like, yeah, they'll pay you. So they're paying me like $600 a person if I beat them up, and sometimes I'll have 2 or 3 fights in the day. But no, it was fun. That's how I got into it, though. A friend of mine, Level Martinez.
Gotcha, cool. Thank you.
All right, that's all.
Good to go. Oh, so we were supposed to see you late last year, right? And things changed around a little bit.
Yeah, man. You know.
What happened? I didn't hear what happened. Was it injury or what happened?
My last cut got real bad, and I got hospitalized. So they had to, pull the fight.
I forgot about that. I do remember that. I apologize. So talk to us about the health. I mean, any lasting implications? I mean, that's a difficult process to go through.
There were at the beginning, but dealing with records and getting the right doctors around me, they cleared everything up. So I'm 100%. They just like, no need to put the strain on your body. You've been doing it for too long. You've been doing it wrong for a lot of that time. In the beginning, fighters don't really know what they're doing, so it's cause and effect. So had to figure it out the hard way. So they said, don't put no strain on your body, and I feel good.
Nice. So I guess, do you have to change diet or anything, or is it just
I get to eat?
Get to
Yeah, so
is this kind of what you walked around at before? Or?
Yeah, I walked around a little bit bigger, but it's more of me focusing on fighting now, not focusing on weight cutting. So that's really like a mental relief.
I guess, does part of you think like, geez, I guess we'll see. You got to wait till Saturday to see how you feel, right? But I mean, right now, as you're sitting there, you're like, why didn't I do this a long time ago?
Yeah, like now I'm present. Like sometimes when you cut weight, you get like the out of body feeling. You're just moving through the motions because you got a lot of obligations, a lot of water obligations, water loading and stuff. But not having those severe obligations and being able to really just sit here and enjoy the fight week, it's a blessing right now. I'm happy. I'm excited.
That's awesome. Where does it start? Because obviously weight cutting is such a big thing in the sport, right? Like, where does it start with? Is it like a psychological thing? Like, these guys are just too big, I need to cut down? Or do like people around you say,
yeah, it's more people around you. Like as fighters, we don't care. Like we fight anybody, anywhere, anytime. That's the way we are. We're built this way. That's how we got here. But it's more of the people around you. Like, hey, you're kind of not that big. You'll do better if you cut weight. And they'll be like, oh, sure. Why not? You get into it and you get into the game and it becomes habit. Like, okay, I'm gonna just keep cutting the weight. I could have built muscle. Like it could have went any direction, but everything happens for a reason.
Very nice. So how are you going into Saturday night? Are you thinking like, well, we got to see how we feel, or is it like, no, this is the way we do it?
It's a go. Like I feel normal. I'm a fighter. I'm here to fight, and now I have to worry about the strain of cutting weight. My mental health is good. Like my body's good. I'm not straining. Like I'm present and I'm ready.
That's awesome. So the last couple of years have been tough, right? Like cancels, rescheduled, all that stuff. I mean, how tough of a process has it been to kind of stay focused?
Yeah, it's been a tough one. I've been fighting since the epidemic. I was one of the first people, like one of the first groups of fighters who just kept fighting. So after Brooklyn card got canceled, everything was up in the air. So they just did what they could do. It was like, hey, keep training. And that's what I did. And that being stuck in the house, everybody not be able to do anything, you're just training. That's mentally wear and tear. And then the body, you're not getting everything you need because you can't go to certain stores, everything's closing down. So all that over the 2 years, and then the hiccups with the weight, and then the body failing a little bit. It's been a crazy 2 years. It's been pretty crazy, but we're here now. We're healthy, we're hungry, and we're ready to make a statement.
Was it tough to stay positive during all that stuff? I mean, were there any points along the way where you're like, why am I doing this?
Oh, for sure. Like I'd be lying if I said like, nah, it was all positive. Nah, you always get down in the dumps. That's part of life. Like you gotta learn to suck that up and find your method of getting out of the dark. That's one thing I had to learn. Like, how do I get out of the dark? Like, you get to listen to other people say stuff, but it doesn't really relate to you because everybody has their own perspective on everything. So me getting there, being able to sit down because of the health injury. So that was also a good thing. Like, okay, I'd actually need to relax. So me being able to sit down and really think about it, having the downtime to think about it and understand myself helps tremendously.
That's awesome. You just seem incredibly relaxed and happy right now. Is this like the most relaxed and happy you've ever been on a fight week?
Yeah, actually I'm violent as hell right now. I'm just not showing y'all. But I'm extremely violent in my mind, thinking about punching everything. But try to keep it under wraps, wait till Saturday.
Well, you're doing a good job, man. All right, talk about the matchup with Khalil. What do you think about when that was the name that came across? Was it one you were excited about?
I was excited. I'm a fan of Khalil. Like, listen, he's been fighting for a while. He's been in the game for a while. He's a heavy puncher. He stays true to who he is. And I'm excited to stand there and bang with him, show him what I can do at this weight.
Yeah, I was going to say, on paper, it looks like this is going to be a pretty explosive fight. Is that kind of what you're expecting as well?
Yeah, explosive. He's a heavy hitter. That's what he's known for. Like, nothing else, really. His cardio a little iffy, but he knows he's going to crack. And anytime, any place, he's going to throw some heavy stuff. And I'm excited because it gives you that danger factor. That, okay, I need to be on my P's and Q's. I need to really be in my A game, and I'm happy, I'm healthy, and I'm here for it.
You nailed it, and a lot of people, I guess, if there's questions about him, it's his cardio and how he performs late, right? So when you're going into a fight like that, you go well, let's try to drag this guy late and take advantage of him, or can you not think that because of the way he does come out cracking?
No, you don't really think that. If it comes, it comes. You got to come up with see how he's coming into the cage. Like, I don't want to put myself in a predicament to get cracked unnecessarily. So we move smart. So we know that his cardio is questionable, but we're definitely going to test it. And you have yet to see me actually tired in the cage. Like, you've seen me beat up, hurt, and everything, but you never see me stop. So he's got to deal with that. He can throw punches. I can take punches. I can take hits. He's not going for a takedown. So what I got worried about?
Nice. Last thing for me, talk about what's important here. I mean, it is important to go in and get a win and put the losses behind. There's more about the fact that you're just happy to be in there competing again and being healthy. I mean, what's the key?
Oh, the win is definitely important. The win is the most important thing because fighters, you got to win. I want to build my brand a little bit more to the top. I want to get to the belt. So the goal is always to win. But also be present and enjoy the lifestyle again. Like, don't let it become too much of a job to the point that it becomes hindrance to me and my family and stuff like that. So relaxing, understanding this world that we're in, and moving accordingly.
Hey, Carl.
What's up, man?
You won your contract at a light heavyweight. Was there a reason that you went down to middleweight?
Yeah, Dana, he asked me right there. I was fat and chubby. He said, hey, you ever been down to 185? I said, yeah. He said, okay, that's where you're fighting. And from there, hey, I'm going down to 185, the boss man.
If you can you expand a little bit more on your medical issues that you happened with that weight cut? I know it was pretty bad.
Yeah, so the first fight with Vittori, I went to Rhabdo. And then me being a fighter, fuck it. I fought him anyway. So like 3 weeks later, I tried to cut the weight again, not knowing that my body was that effed up, and shut down again, but I still stepped in the cage. And then after a while, like my manager, Paradigm and all them, they got into my ear like, hey, you got to really start taking care of yourself. This is serious. Like, you're not recovering, something's wrong. And then a couple fights, I made weight one time, which is on my IG. You see, cried and everything. That's how bad it was. And then felt good, still a little off, and then tried to cut weight again my last fight. Started kind of going through the body shit, like this little seizures and stuff. So they sent me to the hospital. And they was like, yeah, you can't keep doing this to yourself. As the wear and tear, your body's not going to come back 100% every time. So every time it's knocking bricks off the wall. And yeah, it's been crazy. So look at us now. It's at 205, healthy, big, strong, and fast.
Awesome, man. And then finally, do you feel like you're fighting for your job on Saturday?
No, I don't feel like I'm fighting my job. I won't put that type of pressure on myself. We're in a fight game. It is what it is. We're out here to have good showings. If you stretch yourself out, like, oh, I need my job, I need this, I'm going to fuck around and make bad mistakes, put extra pressure on myself and crack. You don't do that. You realistically, okay, you've lost 2 in a row. It is what it is. It's the fight game. My job is to go out there and perform the best way I can, put a show on for the fans, and that's what I'm going to do.
Thank you.
Did you always have that mindset of not paying attention? Well, maybe not necessarily not paying attention to losses, but not letting that stress and pressure build on you?
Fuck no. Fuck no.
Right.
No.
And how did you come to that?
The time I had to sit down with myself, like comes with experience in fighting. Like as a young kid in fighting, every loss hits you hard, super hard. Like every hard loss still hits me hard. I just take it a different way. Like I don't put the pressure on my back. I try not to change myself because of the loss. I just diagnose why I lost and how I can evolve from it, and then grow as a team, conversate with the team, see what their thoughts on it, and then move forward. But dwelling on a loss can really hinder your performance and hinder your training because now you start dwelling on, okay, I did this wrong, I did this wrong, I did this wrong. Okay, where are you going? You can't always be the nail, as I say. As Kraus said, my coach said, we're in a life of being the nail, so you got to be a hammer once in a while. So when you're the nail and you start talking to yourself as a nail, it's just a downward spiral. So sometimes you got to get to that mental space. So, okay, I lost. It is what it is. Wipe the dirt off your shoulder, bite down that mouthpiece, and keep going forward.
And the kind of second what John's sentiment, like you seem so happy. Like normally when we see you, I think we see more of that killer side of you when you come in.
Yeah.
And I like how you said it's just under the surface. It's still waiting. How easy is that switch for you to switch back into that mode? Is it tough to keep the smile on?
It's opposite. This calm isn't my normal.
Yeah.
It's my normal. I'm a fighter. Like I like to fight. So y'all see me like when I'm cutting weight, that's when I can't even put this persona on. He's like, okay, he's just violent as shit. Yeah, that's me. So you guys see by around me, I'm playful, I'm violent, I like to play fight, personable. I'm just down to earth and I love it. And I love being able to be present now.
And last thing for me, I know you love to get out there, you love to throw hands, you like to kind of feel that power, and you like to kind of put your power on them.
Yeah.
Is there a part of you that, maybe the twisted part of you that's like, I want to feel this power so I can laugh?
A little bit, yeah. You see, I have my little niche. Get hit hard time. You see me smile, shake my head, and grab my shorts. I think that's my niche. I'm always down for that. Just test what you got, just to see if I can take it. Truthfully, like, well, I want to find out in the third round that crack. Oh shit, I can't take that. Too late. Like, nah, you got to test the waters. You got to be in there for a while. You got to enjoy the warm water. So that's what I'm doing, jumping in the water and swimming.
And on the flip side, when you make contact and you make a good solid punch, are you able to see something in their reaction, their eyes immediately when you know they didn't like that?
Definitely. It's the reactions, a little bounce off. It's so many different reactions from different fighters. It's just the experience that come with it. They have the twitches, a lot of them smile. And it tells me what type of fighter you are. If I crack you and you smile and you bite down a mouthpiece, now I see you settle in. I'm like, oh, well, fuck, this is a fight. If I crack you, I see you back off, shake it off, try to get yourself together, try to re-diagnose what the fuck just happened. Okay, now I got to eat up space. Now I got to keep you in that spite, keep you in that mindset. So that's the telltale sign. Like, you can definitely tell if you crack somebody, how their mindset is.
I dig it. Best of luck on Saturday.
Thank you, brother. All good? All right, y'all.
Hello.
Hello. Well, obviously, last time out, you got a very impressive finish. You know, we're able to end the fight rather than going to the judges. I guess just how important was that result for you?
就上一次比赛，你完成了一个非常漂亮的一个结束。那对你来说，那是意味着什么？
意味着我能够跟马龙维拉打。
So after last fight, the good finish, that means I could fight with Marlon Moraes this time.
Very nice. You said very busy last year, 3 fights last year. Did you consider taking some time off, or was it important for you to turn around quickly?
去年你还是挺高产的3场比赛，那对你来说，你是希望继续这样子呢，还是说你可以休息一下，你想要那个旅行什么的？
我的计划就是每年打3场比赛。对，我如果可以打更多的话，我可以打4场，然后这样。
My plan every year is for 3 fights, and I'm also available to take more if I feel good.
Wow. All right, we'll talk about this fight. Marlon Moraes, a former champion, a man that's been around for a long time. What did you think of Marlon as an opponent?
你对你的对手评价一下。
他这个是很强壮，然后很有爆发力，然后也是一个非常有技术性、很有经验的一个选手。对。
He's a strong, tough fighter, and also very explosive with experience.
Where do you think he is in his career? Because he's had some losses, but it's been against the absolute best guys in the division. So where do you think he is in his career?
你认为他现在是在什么样一个水平？虽然他就是输了一些比赛，但是始终他在这个级别里还是一直都在。
是的，我觉得他的水平依旧很强，他只不过是输了几场比赛，但是大家也看到了，他上场比赛其实也没有输的太多，所以我觉得他的水平还在那里，只不过就是说运气不好。
Of course, I still think he's a very tough fighter. No matter he lost the fight, I mean, it's just unlocked for him, but I still see him as a top fighter.
Is this a fight that you'd be willing to stand and trade with them, or is it better to stay away from striking with a guy like Marlon Moraes?
那这场比赛你还是会想要集中在站立呢，还是怎么样的？
我想就是更全面一些，然后这次不管是地面还是站立，我都想去尝试终结它。
I would like to try like all around skills, not only on striking, but any skill that I'm trying to finish with him.
Very nice. Win here, you're certainly in the top 10 of the promotion. I mean, at your young age, do you feel like you're ready to take on the very best in the division?
你现在已经算是就是前10的这样的选手，那对你来说，你还是很年轻，对你来说，你还想要往更高去走吗？
当然，肯定每个选手都想往更高走，但就是我想享受比赛，我想就是享受这个过程，然后一步一步来，我也不着急，对。
Yes, every fighter wants to be the best, but I'm not that hurry. I still want to, enjoy the process and enjoy my fight and make sure like every fight I do it good.
Nice. Is it important for you here to get another finish, to make another statement, or is just winning the most important thing?
那对你来说，就是你想要再打出一个KO， 还是说就是只是赢下这场比赛，对你来说就已经很好了？
我觉得我肯定是更想追求更多一个高光时刻，所以我觉得这场比赛我想 KO 对手，而且我觉得我有能力去 KO 他。
For me, of course, I wanted to chase that highlight moment, but I think I do have the ability to do that.
Nice. I know you said you're not in a rush, but if you fight 3 times this year and win 3 times this year, you're going to be at the very top of the division. So where do you see yourself at the end of this year?
那么虽然刚刚你说你也不着急，但是如果你每年都打3场比赛，每场比赛你都赢，那你就会变成是最强的选手了。你自己是怎么把你放在什么位置的？就今年的是完了之后。
我觉得自己还是在一个就是成长当中吧。我就觉得自己还有需要很多进步的地方，就是每次备战当中，我也会发现。对，所以就是我也希望每场比赛能拿下来。就像你说的，我就是一个就是一直赢，他自己就会到一个很高的位置。对。
I agree with what you said. But me, I still think I'm a growing fighter. Every time in my training camp, I still can see things that I can't fix. So I'm still trying to push myself. But like you said, if I'm fighting like 3 fights and win all those fights, and then it will be where it is.
Nice. Last thing for me, I guess, on paper, this looks like it should be a pretty exciting fight. Are you expecting a back and forth type fight, or do you feel like you can dominate?
就是这是一场我们都很期待的比赛。那你感觉是一场会比较焦灼的，就是你来我往的比赛，还是说你会就是掌控主动权？
这场比赛我想打得更聪明一点吧。对，我有很多计划，但是我还要在场上进行实施。对。
I have a lot of plans for this fight. I would like to fight smart. So you will see in the fight.
Song.
Hey.
The rematch between Aljamain Sterling and Peter Yan is happening in a month. I just wanted to know who you think is going to win that fight.
就是斯特林和 Peter Yan 的比赛，你预测一下呢？
上一场比赛好像我们是同场比赛，但是我没有看太多他们的全程他们的比赛，但是我觉得可能获胜的几率会更大一些。
For their last fight, I kind of think that I was there, but I didn't pay attention to the whole fight. But for me, I think Yan probably have more chances.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That'll be all. Thank you, guys.
Magomed, headlining a UFC event, main event, I guess what's the feeling like for you right now?
Магомед, первый главный бой в UFC, как ты себя чувствуешь?
Чувствую себя хорошо, отлично, настрой хороший, так что двигаемся только вперед.
I feel great, I'm very excited, we're ready to fight on Saturday night.
Does it feel like an accomplishment? I mean, I know ultimately you want to win the title, but being in a headliner in a UFC event, does that feel like an accomplishment in itself?
Ты рад, что тебе довелось, предстоит возглавить карту UFC?
Да, я очень рад, меня это очень мотивирует больше трудиться и идти к своей мечте.
Yeah, of course, it feels like an accomplishment. I'm great that UFC bosses give me an opportunity to headline the event, and it motivates me.
That's awesome. It means more media, more interviews, obligations, things like that. Has any of that been difficult for you or annoying, or do you welcome it all?
С главным, так как у тебя главный бой, у тебя добавилось больше интервью, медиа и так далее. Это напрягает тебя как-то или ты настроен на это?
Ну, как-то уже все равно. Мы уже двигаемся вперед, потихоньку, мелкими шагами идем к своей цели, поэтому уже я не обращаю внимания на это. Вопросы задают, я отвечаю, так что проблем нет.
Not gonna lie, I got used to it a little bit, and I got so close to the title, so nothing else is bothering me. I'm just focused on the fight, focused for the title, and moving forward.
Your last two performances, obviously wins, but decisions. Didn't get the finishes that you were getting before. Were you satisfied with the victories, or were you a little disappointed that you had to go to the judges?
Последние два боя ты выиграл решением. Ты расстроен, что это было решение не досрочное, как предыдущие победы?
Нет, наоборот, когда бой длится до конца, там получаешь больше опыта, вырабатываешь больше характера, поэтому я доволен.
No, I'm glad that two of my last fights went for the whole distance because I test myself. It was a challenge for myself, and I fought with tough rank opponents. So I'm glad that I fought the whole distance.
Talk about Thiago as an opponent. What did you think when you were matched up with him? What do you think of his style and what he brings to the cage?
Что можешь сказать насчет Тиаго, насчет его стиля и как бойца в целом?
Тиаго хороший спортсмен, но он панчер, можно сказать. Поэтому мы сделаем свою работу четко, грамотно, поэтому я думаю, это не проблема для нас.
Thiago is a very tough opponent, a very high-level striker, same as me. So I'm ready to fight, I'm ready to entertain the fans, and I'm ready for his style, for his techniques. I'm ready.
Are you looking at this as a potential #1 contender fight, or do you feel like it's going to take one more win after this?
Ты рассматриваешь ваш бой как претендентский, или ты думаешь, победителю вашей пары предстоит еще один бой, чтобы завоевать, биться за титул?
Но это зависит от боя, как этот бой пройдет. Если этот бой будет очень зрелищным, я думаю, победителю дадут биться за титул. Мы очень надеемся на это.
It's hard to say, but I feel it depends on the fight. It depends how I'll win Thiago, for example, the way I will win him. But I hope I will get the title shot after.
Have you started to think about what you would do next, whether it's another opponent or like stay ready as a backup for the title fight coming up? Have you thought about where you would go with a win on Saturday?
Думал ли ты, что будет после победы в субботу? Хотел ли бы ты быть заменой на титульный бой? Либо ты хочешь уже дождаться титульный бой?
Ну, пока мы не хотим вперед забегать, у меня будет очень жесткий бой. После боя будем уже думать, что делать дальше.
To be honest, I don't want to look past Thiago because both of us have a very tough, violent fight on Saturday night, and it depends how it will go. After we can talk and see what we can do.
Last thing for me, I guess, knowing how close you are to the title, is it important to go out there and get a finish again and make a big statement, or is it more about just making sure you win and keep yourself in the position you are?
Ты уже близко приблизился к титулу. У тебя цель этот бой закончить уверенно и досрочно, чтобы завоевать титульный бой. Либо главное победить.
Я хочу этот бой выиграть достойно. Нокаут приходит сам по себе. Если будет, будет. Если нет, я... В общем, не могу это заранее сказать. Это в бою будет видно, да?
Obviously, I'm looking for a victory. How I will win, it's hard to say, but I'm looking to get a violent victory on Saturday night.
Magomed. You were recently put into the UFC video game. I just wanted to know your thoughts on that. He was put inside the UFC video game.
Тебя добавили в UFC видеоигру. Что ты можешь сказать по этому поводу?
Да, я видел, я еще не играл, не смотрел, так просто видел, что фотография, еще не играл, но мы еще проверим, посмотрим там, насколько в игре, какой он сильный.
Yeah, I'm very happy that they add me to the game. I'm very excited about it. To be honest, I didn't get the chance to use my character in the game yet, but after the fight, I'm looking forward to play and test myself in the game to see how I am.
And then finally for me, Glover and Yuri fight in a couple of months. I just wanted your thoughts on that fight and who wins.
Что ты можешь сказать насчет титульного боя Тейшейра и Джири?
Это очень интересный бой. Один ударник, другой борется хорошо и очень выносливый. Это будет очень интересный бой, но мы будем следить за этим.
It's gonna be a very exciting fight as me, for example, as a fan, because one is the high-level striker and another one awkward striker, and another one is a high-level grappler. So it will be a very exciting fight. I believe not only for me, for all the fans. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you.
So did we just see you like 2 weeks ago? I feel like you was just here.
Right? It felt just like yesterday.
Talk to me about how you felt about that last performance. It took a little long for you, 2 minutes 11 seconds. We expect you to get done a little bit quicker, you know?
Yeah, man. All respect to Ferris. I can see he definitely did his film study. He was definitely ready for the left hand. He's timed the leg kick so beautifully, man. So he's a beautiful striker. But once we got on the ground, the wrestling strength was definitely apparent in my favor, and we just took advantage of that.
Overall, how do you feel after a performance like that? I mean, first round victories in the UFC, that doesn't happen a lot.
Yeah, like I'm so humbled to be here and grateful to God for these 2 victories. Like you said, you couldn't ask for a better performance. Took 1 strike in 2 fights. Like, couldn't be more grateful.
That's awesome. And now you're back. How did the process go? How did you end up, jumping in? Were you telling them right away, book me, or did they call you? How did it work?
So I was about to hit him up, and as soon as I'm already getting the call myself. They're like, "Yo, you want to fight? You want to fight Drew Dober?" I was like, "Yeah, but let's get a new contract. How about that?" And after that, it was a no-brainer, and I'm so grateful to be here.
Was there any hesitation at all on your part to be like, man, maybe I should take some time off and be away for a little bit?
Not at all, man. God has a plan, and I got an opportunity of a lifetime, and I definitely have to seize this moment.
That's awesome. So you called for the new contract. Was there any back and forth, or right away they're like, all right, man?
They're down. They know this is a veteran. He's as tough as they come, and I got to get paid to fight a beast like that.
That's awesome. What does that mean for you, though? I mean, to know that the company already, seems to believe in you, that they're willing to do that. Because they could say, nah, man, you already got a contract, right?
Yeah, and like I said, I can definitely see God moving, like not only just in my life, but in the UFC company. So, like, it's been so amazing. Like, I'm so grateful, like I tell you guys. Like, this is never going to get old, and I'm forever going to enjoy every moment of this.
That's awesome. So it sounds like you have a lot of respect for Drew as an opponent. What do you think about him as a fighter?
This dude is an assassin. He's a beast, Greek god, yoked, pretty boy, Jersey Shore. And I'm excited to mix it up with him. I think we're both explosive, powerful people, and it got Fight Night written all over it.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I wonder. I mean, do you think this can be another explosive type fight, or do you think, I got to get ready to? I can't expect that I can get out of there in 2 minutes or 7 seconds.
Yeah, I know he is durable, and we train 10 rounds every Friday at Warrior Camp, so we're ready for wherever the fight goes. But just know we're looking for that finish at all times.
When you step in there, do you look at this as kind of like a no-lose situation? Like, even if I take a loss, like I stepped in on 2 weeks, I got an extra paycheck, a new contract. Do you think of it that way, or is it like, I have to win every time I'm in there?
I have to win every time, because this is a moment of lifetime, and I told you guys what goals I have, and God's given me a chance to do it even quicker, so it was a no-brainer for me, and losing is not an option, because I'm fighting for my fans, I'm fighting for my family, I'm fighting for my teammates that put their bodies and sacrifice for me during the camp. Like, this is for all of them.
That's awesome. The UFC will be in Columbus in 2 weeks. Should we go ahead and pencil you on that card, get you a spot on that one too? Or?
Yes, sir. Why not, man? Let's keep the ball rolling.
I like it, man. Well, obviously you want to get through Saturday night first. I mean, what matters to you? I mean, is it just picking up a win, or do you feel like when you go out there, you need to keep this spectacular streak going where you keep getting these quick finishes? I'm
looking to make a statement, and I want everyone to know that the time will come, man, and this is something that God has written all over. It's nothing short of a miracle, and I just want people to see that, and that's why I definitely got to make a statement.
Terrance, talk to us about your new YouTube channel.
I'm excited about this, and I'm starting a podcast, Reckless. So what we're gonna do is get fighters and stars to come on, tell us about a time they were reckless and they were able to bounce back and change their life around.
Awesome. So what changed from you being? I guess what changed with you letting your hands go? Because you've always been a good wrestler, but then you started knocking people out. What was the change that you wanted to start? I guess knocking people out instead of submitting people.
Because, like I said, my goal was being in UFC, and I know what the fans like, and I know what the UFC likes. They like violence, so I was like,
All right, man. I got a good record. Now it's time to start showing people that I got hands in. I got with Pablo, man, and we hit miss all the time, and I just fell in love with the hands. You know, you can't just be falling in love with what you're good at. You got to do what you don't like to do, the least, and that's what's going to make you great.
How important is that Warrior Camp up in Washington, man? There's a bunch of killers coming out of that camp.
Man, it's just been so amazing being there. Like every day, like it's humbling because like my coach never puts me above my teammates. You know, he treats us all equal. That's why I love Pablo so much, man. Such a good guy, and I'm forever Warrior Camp.
Awesome. Thank you.
No problem. Yes, sir. We're standing and banging. Like I said, the only person I fear is God, and we're gonna go out there and we're gonna fireworks and car crashes. Be ready. No problem. Hey, stay blessed, you guys. Appreciate you guys.
Bernardo, como é que eu faço assim?
Trying to make some money.
Nice.
Bruno, 3-0 in the UFC, all within about 6 months' time. I mean, how has this run in the UFC so far feel for you?
3 vitórias, nenhuma derrota, tudo isso em apenas 6 meses. Como você se sente com essa sua caminhada até o momento aqui no UFC?
Feliz, grato e o mundo está começando a conhecer o meu trabalho e espero fazer mais lutas. Se Deus quiser, no máximo junho já quero estar de volta aqui de novo. Quero fazer 5 em menos de um ano.
I'm very happy and thankful, and now the world start seeing and knowing my name and my job, and hopefully I'm gonna be back soon, May or June, and my goal is to fight 5 times this year.
Nice. I know it took you a long time to get to the UFC, but did you predict or believe in your mind that your rise would be this fast once you got here?
Sei que demorou um certo tempo para chegar no UFC, mas você previu que você conseguiria tanto sucesso tão rapidamente?
Todo lutador sonha com isso, mas a gente sabe que na prática é totalmente diferente o querer e fazer, né? Mas nos nossos planos da minha equipe, do meu empresário, do meu treinador, era isso que iria acontecer e foi melhor do que a gente tinha planejado, né? Acho que um cenário melhor do que esse praticamente impossível.
That's a dream for every single fighter, but you never know when it comes to the octagon, right? But my manager and my team, actually, everything that is happening so far, it's even better than we thought.
Very nice. When you look back on the 25 fights it took you to get to the UFC, are you happy that you took that journey because it clearly got you prepared, or do you still wish I would have been here 5 years ago, 10 years ago?
Você está feliz do jeito que foi até chegar no UFC? A gente sabe dos percalços que teve, né? Ou de repente você poderia já estar aqui faz 5 anos.
Depois de tudo que passou, na verdade mesmo, não cicatrizou, mas eu agradeço por ter acontecido isso e agora estou num cenário melhor. Era para ser assim e assim que está sendo e eu não quero mudar o que aconteceu. Quer dizer, não mudaria o tempo.
I can't change everything that happened. The way I think is it was meant to be, you know. But it is what it is. It's something in the past, and I cannot change anything.
They give you the matchup with Alex. Is it a matchup that excites you, that you wanted, or what do you think of it?
Essa luta com o Alex era a luta que você queria? O que você acha do casamento de estilos?
Eu sabia que ia acontecer uma hora ou outra. Na verdade, quando o Alex nocauteou, eu falei até para o meu companheiro de equipe, falei, cara, essa luta aí em 2022 vai ser inevitável. Não achava que seria agora em março já, mas quando apareceu o nome dele, eu aceitei de cara, nem pensei 2 vezes.
Actually, after Alex got the knockout, his last fight, I told my manager, man, this fight's going to happen next year, but I didn't think it was about to happen in March, but yeah, let's do it.
So it seems in fighting Alex, it would be pretty obvious, like, don't build a game plan around striking. Is it that easy for you to see, or do you think, maybe we got some surprises for him?
Você vai lutar com o Alex e aí, em teoria, pelo menos, né, não vamos fazer o jogo no striking contra ele, né? Dá para pensar assim, ou de repente você tem algumas surpresas?
Só faz história quem é corajoso, né? Eu nunca vi um piloto de Fórmula 1 fazer história com medo de entrar na curva. E vocês não vão esperar o blindado estilo Khabib, estilo MMA do Jiu-Jitsu. Não sou assim. Se precisar, farei, mas eu estou aqui para buscar mais um nocaute.
There's no way to make history if you are not brave enough. So you guys are not going to see me fighting like Khabib or Demian Maia. If I have to, I will, but I'm going to look for another knockout.
I like it. Experience-wise, obviously you have a ton more MMA experience. He's got a ton of kickboxing experience. Does that kickboxing experience help in MMA, or do you think that he's still kind of new to this?
Ele tem grande histórico no kickboxing, né? Isso ajuda ele no octógono ou, no final das contas, ele ainda, digamos, é um pouco novo no esporte MMA?
Não, ajuda ele. Ele tem uma bagagem no esporte de trocação, né? Embora sejam esportes diferentes, mas ele tem uma bagagem de uma modalidade. Só que a minha maior bagagem é no MMA. Eu não tive esse tempo de lutar jiu-jitsu, lutar submission. Minha carreira começou no MMA e até hoje eu luto MMA. Então minha bagagem é 100% dentro do MMA.
Of course, his background helps him a lot. I mean, it's a huge background in kickboxing, right? But my background is MMA. I did start just doing MMA. I didn't do jiu-jitsu, submission, or kickboxing before, and I did start as MMA, and I'm still fighting MMA. But yeah, it helps him a lot for sure.
Last thing for me, you win here. It's a big one. You said you want to fight 5 times this year. What kind of fights do you want? I mean, are we talking about the rankings? Because 5 wins, you could be at the top of the rankings, or is it more about finding just exciting, fun fights to put on shows?
Você falou que quer fazer 5 lutas nesse ano, né? Que tipo de luta você está pensando? De repente, alguns atletas ranqueados ou lutas mais excitantes para o público ver? Que tipo de luta você tem em mente no seu planejamento?
Ranqueados. Quando eu falei 5 no ano, é contando de junho, que foi a minha estreia, até junho desse ano, né? Que eu fiz 3, essa é a 4ª, quero fazer a 5ª até junho. Se tudo der certo nos planos meio do empresário. Mas depois dessa, eu vencendo essa, eu quero os ranqueados. Eu acho que eu mereço estar ali, embora o UFC seja não tenha um parâmetro exato, mas não tem por que eu não merecer um top 15, né?
Okay, when I told you guys 5 fights in 1 year, I was talking about since my first fight, right? So it was June last year. So June this year, I'm gonna probably fight another one. That's my goal with my manager. And yes, after this Saturday, I want to fight ranking guys. My goal is fighting the best guys in the division. I'm looking for the ranking guys.
Bruno, there's a lot of hype behind Alex. If you beat him on Saturday, do you think you steal all of that hype?
Tem hype enorme em cima do Alex, né? Se você vencer ele, você acha que de repente dá para você pegar, roubar o hype dele para você?
Sim, esse é um dos motivos maiores que eu aceitei a luta, né? Segundo o Alex, 15 adversários não aceitaram ele. Então eu fui o louco do 16º, né? E aceitei, eu não pensei em outra coisa. Uns têm medo e eu tenho medo e coragem, né? Então aceitei a luta pensando nisso já.
Absolutely. That's one of the reasons I took this fight. According to Alex, 15 guys denied to fight him, and I was a crazy number 16. So, yeah, because a lot of guys, they have fear, but I have fear, and I'm brave. So, yeah, I'm going to fight him.
Obrigado.
De nada.
Anybody else, guys? Okay. So, eu vou fazer em português agora, beleza? Vamos lá. Blindado. Fator experiência no MMA. Você já falou um pouquinho sobre isso, queria que você fosse mais a fundo. Isso te favorece? E de que forma te favorecia o fato de você ter mais bagagem no MMA em si?
Então, tem uma diferença de trabalho, de teoria e prática, né? Se o Poatan não tivesse nenhuma luta de kickbox e tivesse entrando no MMA agora, eu falaria que era 100% lógico a experiência do MMA. Mas o fato dele ter uma história no Glória, da trocação, da porrada, ter uma experiência na modalidade há muitos anos também, a diferença é porque eu já passei por tudo no MMA, né? Por muita coisa. Não tudo, mas passei por muita coisa. E esse ponto me dá uma certa vantagem. Porque, cara, eu sei como é que é tomar uma porrada na cara com luva de 4 onças, perdendo 2 rounds, né? E sei como é que dá a volta por cima durante esse tempo que você está tomando porrada na cara. E você sabe que você já viu grandes campeões não ter um coração tão grande na hora de uma luta, né? E eu acho que a minha maior qualidade é essa, né? Eu não me consigo me ver como um semideus, como esses caras do 8-4, a maioria se sentem aí uns deuses, né? Poseidon, Hades, os deuses que eles falam que são, né? Eu não consigo me ver assim, mas a minha melhor arma no MMA é o mental, e quando eu preciso do meu coração, ele está sempre ali para o coração de leão, né?
Seu treinador, o Dida, ele, enfim, da escola Shootbox, que é uma escola muito famosa por ter adaptado o Muay Thai, a trocação, para a trocação do MMA.
Exatamente.
Você vai enfrentar um cara que é multicampeão do kickboxing. Queria a sua análise da diferença da trocação no kickboxing para a trocação para o MMA. Onde, de repente, como ele falou, né, em tese é óbvio que você vai levar para o chão, mas existe uma diferença até de cage para o ringue e luva?
a distância da luta. Você vê que no Glória a galera fica muito perto ali, né? Um dá uma sequência mais forte, o outro dá a sequência dele, e fica a troca de força também, né? E tem a joelhada, e você não se preocupa com tomar queda, né? Você não se preocupa em fazer aquela força isométrica, que é a que mais cansa pro atleta, né? O MMA é um esporte que os dois vai juntos, né? O cara dá um direto, o cara vai com o direto junto com ele. E na hora da porradaria vem o bolo de queda, vem a distância que é diferente. Eu não posso estar com o meu oponente mais ou menos daqui com luva de 4 onças, né? Cara, o cara dá uma porrada ali e vai abrir minha cara toda, né? Você tem que botar uma distância diferente do kickbox, né? É difícil você pôr uma trocação franca no MMA. Você tem que ser louco, na verdade, né? E eu gosto de ser louco.
Maravilha, então. Mencionou sobre o ritmo puxado de lutas, né? Vou te fazer 2 perguntas sobre isso, uma em cima da outra. O fato de todo aquele imbróglio que você teve antes de estrear no UFC, ficar quase 3 anos parado, essa é a minha primeira. Você acha que, de repente, deu uma descansada extra no seu corpo, isso te ajudou a assumir tantas lutas uma atrás, em cima da outra? E a segunda é, terminando essa meta de 5 lutas de junho a junho, pretende ainda continuar com um ritmo acentuado ou, de repente, pisar um pouco no freio?
A primeira sobre a pausa, eu não posso te falar com toda certeza isso, porque eu gosto de lutar, né? Eu quero encerrar uma carreira aí, cara, com pelo menos aí umas 45 lutas de MMA, pelo menos aí e ser um dos maiores nocauteadores da história do peso médio, né? Eu estou com 19 e quero buscar mais aí. Possa ser que eu tenha descansado, como possa ser que tenha atrapalhado. Mas tempo ruim, a gente tem vários momentos da carreira, né? Mas eu posso ser sincero que realmente foi um tempo que eu precisei alimentar mais, né? Eu fiquei com mais fome, fiquei com mais vontade, né? Os medos que eu tinha antes, nesses 3 anos, eu aprendi a controlar e aprendi a entender mais outras coisas, né? É um tempo obrigatório, eu não tinha o que fazer. Ou chorar e ficar lá culpando até Deus, né? Ah, Deus não quis. Deus não quis. Não é que ele não quis, né? Ele me deu a oportunidade. Se aconteceu algum erro da parte usada, da minha parte, eu não sei, mas enfim, já passou. E pode ser que sim, pode ser que não. Eu não consigo te dar uma resposta exatamente que me ajudou ou não. Mas pode ser que tenha, sim, me ajudado. Na parte de chão.
E a segunda é se você pensa em dar um pezinho no freio depois de junho.
Depende do meu empresário, né? Meu empresário é meu mestre, eles acham que eu sou lugar de briga, né? Aí eles vão lá e jogam milho ali e mandam eu para briga ali. Eu vou ser bem sincero, até depois do Sancho eu fiquei um pouco estressado. Pô, o cara quer te alcançar. Agora, se dane a paz, eu quero é sair no soco mesmo. Daqui uns dias daqui uns anos, isso aqui vai ser só saudade, só lembranças, e eu quero viver isso aqui intensamente. Se fizer 5, eu faço 5, se fizer 10, eu faço 10. Na hora que eles falar assim, vai, só tira a coleira aqui e deixa eu sair no soco lá à vontade lá, até porque eu tenho uma pequenininha e eu quero dar o do bom e do melhor para ela, e eu preciso de dinheiro para deixar ela bem. Não que esteja faltando, graças a Deus eu estou conseguindo fazer minha vida.
Finalizar, então, se puder mandar aquele recado para os fãs brasileiros, por que eles devem assistir a sua luta com o Alex Potter?
Por que vocês têm que assistir essa luta? Porque vocês, eu sei que não gostaram muito do casamento, mas estão querendo assistir. Pode torcer contra, não tem problema. Você tem total direito de torcer para quem você quer. Portanto, que você me respeite e respeite Poatan. E eu quero trazer, e estou trazendo esse estilo da velha guarda, do estilo das antigas, do Vanderlei, do Shogun, do Minotauro, que são os meus ídolos, né? A galera que lutava para sair na porrada mesmo, se preparar com o resultado. E a mensagem que eu mais gosto é, eu nem tinha mais o combate, mas depois que vi você lutando, começou a me dar vontade de assistir o UFC de novo. E isso é prazeroso para mim, que eu quero que você pague o combate e vale a pena você me ver lutar. Independente de resultado, eu não estou aqui para prometer vitória ou derrota. Estou aqui para prometer o meu melhor, que vocês esperem o Bruno blindado, buscando o nocaute e ganhando sempre com dancinha. E se perder, chorar uns dias e notícia sacudir a poeira e voltar de novo com a dança.
We had to get the win back in October. I'm just curious how big it was for you to get that result and maybe kind of put the losses behind.
Você conseguiu a vitória na última luta. Como foi bom você conseguir a vitória e botar as derrotas para trás?
It was very good for me, you know. After some lose, I got my W, so I feel so happy and motivated for next one.
Very nice. And you come back with another main event. I mean, is this still special for you to be in a headlining fight of a UFC?
I like, you know. I like to fight main event, you know, and 5 rounds make me more excited. I like to challenge myself. 5 rounds is a challenge.
No doubt. Ankalaev is kind of the new name in the division that's been making his way up. So what did you think when they gave you him as an opponent?
O Ankalaev é um nome novo, é cara que está vindo muito bem na divisão. O que você achou quando eles te deram ele como seu oponente?
Ankalaev is a tough guy, you know, no question about that. But I'm here to fight against the best fighters of the world, you know, the best of this division. So just one more fight, one more challenge for me, and I'm so excited to fight against him.
Have you watched his rise up the division, and is this a fight that you thought you would have to take at some point?
Você viu a subida dele na divisão? Essa é uma luta que você achou que você teria que fazer em algum ponto?
No, I saw his fights. I watched his fight, but no, I watched every fight of my division, so I know I can have possibilities to fight anyone of this division. So, but no, just one more fight.
A lot of people are saying that he's a future title challenger, maybe even a champion. When you see his fights, do you see that quality of skill in him?
Yeah, absolutely. He has quality. Like I said, he's a good fight, you know. It's one more perspective, you know. And yeah, he's a good guy, you know, very tough fighter, big challenge for me. But I'm here to fight against him to prove that I can beat anyone in this division and become champion.
You said you like the 5 rounds. Do you think this is the type of fight that will go 5 rounds, or do you think it's a fight that you can end early, maybe get a big knockout, something like that?
You never know, you know, you can't predict, you know. I fought against other guys, strikers too, you know. Everyone expected knockout, but it didn't happen. We never know, so I came to 5 rounds because I know it's a possibility. So if it's happened, I'm ready.
After your last fight, has your mentality changed? I know your health and you didn't know if the injuries were good and all that. Do you feel like your mentality changed at all after the last win?
I think every single fight, I become better, you know, more confident, healthy. So every fight I become better. I'm sure this fight I'm going to fight better than my last one. So it's pretty sure about that.
And of course, you're still at the very top of the division. So are you thinking at all about what comes next, whether it be rankings or other opponents? Do you worry about that at all?
I'm not worried about what, you know. It's my job, it's fights, it's what I like to do, you know. If I worry, I'll not do this. So I'm not worried at all. It's one more fight, and I will keep fight, you know, and follow my dreams, you know. And it is nothing to worry about.
Nice. Last thing for me, when you play this fight out in your head, you know, 2 big, strong, powerful guys, do you see an explosive fight, a battle? Do you see, you know, back and forth? Do you see you dominating? How do you see this play out?
I think it's going to be a very interesting fight, you know. He's so smart on his feet. You know, he's smart, but he is danger. You know, We are a little bit similar. If you watch his fight, we are a little bit similar. We like to keep the distance, you know. We don't like to take some risk, like go to 50-50, you know. We are smart. It's gonna be like, you know, xadrez.
Chess game.
Chess game fight. Yeah.
Thiago. I just wanted your thoughts on the Glover Teixeira versus Yuri fight that's happening in a couple months. What are your thoughts on the fight and who's going to win?
I support Glover Teixeira for sure. You know, I'm so happy for him. In this age, he became champion, and I know it's a very tough fight for him. You know, but yeah, I hope he can make his plan and take downs and put his jiu-jitsu on inside the octagon, and I think he can get this victory. If he take Yuri down, I think he can dominate him.
And then finally, talking about Glover, you said that he inspires you because he became champion at an older age. Do you look at him as inspiration, and maybe you can do that as well?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, I'm so happy for him, and second, sure, he inspiration me. You know, I 38 years old. You know, he's 42, I think. You know, and he's the top of this division. He's number one. He's a champion. Absolutely, he inspired not only me but other fighters too.
Thank you.
Marreta, tudo bom?
Tudo bem.
Fazer em português rapidinho aqui. Marreta, essa, se eu não me engano, vai ser sua sexta ou quinta main event nas suas últimas 6, 5 lutas. Apenas uma não foi. Questão de motivação, ainda com fazer luta de alto nível, liderar cards do UFC, o quanto isso te motiva extra, né?
Com certeza me motiva muito mais, porque, como eu falei, tá encabeçando o evento, fazendo 5 rounds, isso é uma motivação a mais, é uma responsabilidade a mais, eu tenho que treinar mais, eu tenho que me preparar mais, então isso me motiva mais, entendeu? É o que me puxa, entendeu? Me empurra, me motiva a pegar essas lutas principais.
O quão importante foi para você vencer sua última luta, né, interrompendo aquela má fase, e mostrar que você ainda, não só ainda, mas você pode lutar contra os caras mais novos, fazer 5 rounds e dominar uma luta? Quão importante foi para você anotar aquela vitória?
Você fala da última luta? Muito importante, né? Mas é uma coisa que isso vai acontecer agora em todas as lutas, né? É o processo natural, né? Colocar os caras mais novos contra os veteranos. Isso é normal e não tem nada de errado nisso. Cabe a mim provar o contrário e parar esses caras. É o que eu fiz na luta passada e é o que eu vou fazer agora, sábado.
Boa. Para essa luta em específico, então, o que a gente pode esperar do casamento de estilos? O que os fãs que vão ver a luta podem esperar do Marreta nesse sábado?
Pode esperar o Thiago Marreta bem preparado para tudo que o Ankalaev trazer para mim, seja na parte de strike ou grappling. Eu estou muito bem preparado para isso e eu vou buscar ser mais agressivo e buscar a vitória a todo custo.
Depois de tantos anos no UFC, te incomoda? Ou você, a minha pergunta é, você está azarão nas casas de apostas? De alguma forma isso reflete para você? Te surpreende?
Não aposto, não boto meu dinheiro, então tanto faz. Já tive como azarão e ganhei lutas, já tive como favorito e perdi. Isso não me afeta em nada. Afeta para quem aposta, perde ou ganha. Para mim, tanto faz.
Show de bola, Marreta. Para finalizar, então, lutando nesse sábado, digamos, uma nova vitória no cenário perfeito, o que a gente pode esperar do Marreta para a temporada 2022? Quantas lutas você ainda pretende fazer? Onde essa vitória te colocaria no ranking? Qual o seu planejamento para o ano?
Quero fazer quantas lutas eu puder. Eu estando saudável para lutar, eu quero lutar. Eu acho que uma vitória em cima do Ankalaev vai me colocar bem próximo da disputa de cinturão novamente.
de repente, de uma luta, ou, de repente, até mesmo ir direto para uma disputa de cinturão. A gente nunca sabe. Então, meu foco principal é sábado agora vencer ele, fazer uma boa vitória, e aí depois a gente vê.
So two things that Diego asked that I think that are good for everybody. One, he asked, well, you're fighting a younger fighter, and what do you think about that? And he said, listen, I think it's perfectly fine that the veterans fight the younger fighter. It's part of the process. I'm fine with that. And the other thing that Diego asked is, you're the underdog on the fight. What do you think about that? He says, well, you know, I've won fights that I was the underdog and lost fights that I was the top dog. So I don't put my money on the fights. It's up to the guys that bet. I don't put my money. I don't want to lose my money, and it's up to the people that bet.
Marlon, welcome back. I got to ask, how good did it feel to get back home to the United States after your trip abroad?
Man, I feel great, you know, and when you go away and you like put yourself in all kind of situations, you ain't scared of anything, you know, and I feel like phenomenal for this fight, and I'm just happy to be here in Las Vegas, seeing this whole atmosphere. I went to watch the UFC Saturday, you know, and I feel great, man. I'm very happy to be here in the US.
Yeah, you know, obviously I talked to you right when you got out of the hospital. Were you able to get good training? I was worried that you weren't going to actually be able to get decent training, that maybe you'd be kind of mentally shook up or anything. Was the training good over there?
Yeah, the training was amazing. And when I left the hospital for the couple of days I stayed there, I thought, man, I'm going to just go there, see how it is, and leave, go to US. But I felt in love with training, with the way coach approached to me. John is a good, very, very good coach. He coached Peter, and the work he does is amazing, and reminded me a lot of Mark Henry. I've been with Mark Henry for a long time, you know, and the way he watches me, the way he takes the fighting, and it's really serious, you know, and really, really smart, like showing me the small details and everything, and like going back at it and pissing me off, and I love it.
That's awesome. Physically, were there any challenges? I know you weren't sure how your body was going to react. Was everything okay, or was this a difficult training camp?
Of course, it's a lot of physical challenges. You go to Thailand to run like big Buddhas and sprints all over and conditioning like crazy. And then you see why these guys, they are where they are, you know. Like you watch Peter Young closely and damn, these guys are getting prepared for that. That's where the confidence comes from the hard preparation, the hard training, the situations that you put yourself into, you know. And that's what I've been doing for the last 8 weeks.
That's awesome. Do you think this is something that you'll continue to do, whether go to Thailand or maybe go other places just to get new things?
I believe so. I'll be back to Thailand. I love there, and the atmosphere there. It's great.
That's awesome. All right, talk about Song, your opponent. I mean, obviously a young kid that's been having a lot of success. What do you think about him as a fighter?
Yeah, man, he's a very good fighter, and he fought some of the best fighters. You know, some people are saying, oh, he never fought a top-ranking guy, but all his last fights, he fought tough guys, good fighters, guys that I like to watch it. But they are very good fighters, but they didn't have what I have, you know. And I think this is his biggest challenge, because I am just as good as him in what he's good at.
Does it feel weird for you to, like, I mean, fighting, he's a kid, you know what I mean? Like, you've been around for a while, so is it exciting to be like, okay, I'm going to fight the new generation? Or is it, like, almost difficult to get motivated because you're like, who is this guy? I don't even...
Nah, he's a good fighter, you know. He been in the game for a little bit, you know. He started fighting young, and he got what have it to be here, you know. He belongs in the UFC. I'm taking it really serious. I know his weapons, and I'm prepared, and I'm ready.
You've had a couple losses, but it's been against the absolute best of the division, right? I mean, was there any part of you that was like, can I get an easy fight? Like, do I have to fight the best guy out there every time?
Man, I was talking with my friend this week. He's just signed with the UFC. I don't need to say who is my friend, you know. But we were talking about that. It's no easy fight in the UFC, especially where I am, the things I accomplish, the things I've been doing for this sport. And, you know, I don't want to ask for an easy fight. Just give me whatever you want. I'll take it like I always do, you know. And to be honest with you, if I can hang with the top, this is it for me, man. I'm here to fight with the best.
Nice. On paper, this looks like it's going to be a very exciting fight when you consider your two guys' styles. Are you expecting it to be a pretty explosive fight?
Definitely. That's no way this fight's going to be a boring fight.
Last thing for me, I guess, is the result important to you? I mean, I know winning is always better than losing, but does like everything hang on winning, or is it about going out there and knowing that you improved, knowing that you did your best, and feel that way?
Two things, the win and the performance. I want to have both. I want to have a great performance. That's what I train hard. That's why I don't see my family for the last 10 weeks, you know. That's a reason, and that's what I'm chasing Saturday.
Hey, Marlon. At UFC 266, you almost finished Merab. Were you shocked that he survived that first round onslaught?
Who wasn't, you know? And being in there is kind of different because, man, I thought the ref was gonna stop at some point, and you know, I just my mind just went away, like thinking. I thought about, man, I think it's over, you know, but the fight is never over, and that's the mistake I made it, and I paid for.
You know, going into that second round, were you just gassed, or did you blow your wad trying to finish him in that first round?
I think it was a mixed, you know, because at the same point, I lost the focus on the fight, and I used a lot of energy to finish him, you know, and I saw him finish it, you know, and like, man, he's finished it. I'm going to give all I got, and he's over. And it wasn't over, and it was kind of hard for me to get back at it, you know, and the pressure, he kept the pressure, he kept the composure, and he knew he had to push, because if he let me take that movement, that moment, I was going to be back at it.
I'm sure you've dealt with a bunch of fans and people, you know, just doubting you the past couple of years. How do you silence those, and how do you keep them out of your mind?
Man, it's not easy, you know, but it is what it is, man. That's the life I choose for myself. The hurting business is a fight, you know, and if you are happy too long, when you get sad, it's gonna be really sad, you know, and it's never enough. You always are the last fight. If you just won, when is the next one, you know? But I love what I do, and I don't care what people think. I care about what I lay down and think about myself, all the things I put into this, and man, I'm not gonna step back. I'm gonna get in there. I'm gonna fight. That people know, you know. I'm gonna go for it.
It's been finally for me. Aljamain Sterling and Peter Yan rematch at a month from now. I just wanted your thoughts on that matchup and who wins the rematch.
Man, I think it's a very interesting matchup. You know, Peter show what he has. Sterling too. Sterling overcame the knockout he suffered against me, and he put on a roll. You know, he been winning and having great performances. And man, I think even though a lot of people say, "Oh, he pushing out the fight," man, guy's a great fighter. You know, he got hurt, and man, you know, you did some illegal thing. You know, he kind of took the advantage for. But I don't blame him. He's the champion. I respect him. He's a good fighter. He showed along the way. And Peter as well. Peter is a good fighter, good champion. And being alongside with him, seeing every day the training he put it in, the time, that amount of dedication, you know, I seen that he is where he deserves to be, you know. And it's amazing for me to see, to be closer to people that work hard. And that's my pick. I think Peter is going to win.
Thank you.
Tudo bom, Marlon?
Tudo bem.
Vou fazer em português aqui.
Beleza.
Primeiro eu queria que você falasse aqui em português, né? Como foi fazer esse camp diferente, a grande lição que você tirou, os aprendizados e até mesmo quanto isso exigiu de você fisicamente ou mentalmente, né?
Cara, eu me dediquei aí nessas últimas 10 semanas. Eu resolvi viajar para a Tailândia para conhecer lá o camping e tudo mais. E acabei gostando de lá e resolvi acabar o camp lá e fazer uma semana aqui em Las Vegas. Foi muito bom para mim, os treinos muito puxados, umas partes que realmente eu precisava evoluir. Eu acredito que eu evoluí muito e eu estou me sentindo muito bem preparado para essa luta.
Podemos esperar o Marlon treinando mais vezes na Tailândia?
Sim, posso voltar lá. Gostei muito da atmosfera daquele país, do treino. E eles não devem nada a ninguém do mundo, não só na parte de treino, como o país mesmo. É um país muito organizado, uma qualidade de vida muito boa.
Anos atrás, talvez existisse o erro, talvez, se imaginar que na Tailândia eu ia lá apenas pelo Muay Thai, né? Hoje em dia a gente vê muitos lutadores de MMA, até quando você estava lá, muitos lutadores do UFC estavam lá. Você encontrou treino em todas as áreas, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, conseguiu treinar de tudo lá?
Sim, com certeza. Inclusive, mais wrestlers de jiu-jitsu do que os próprios strikers mesmo, mas eu acredito que foi muito proveitoso e lá tem todos os estilos.
Show. Me fala um pouquinho do seu rival desse sábado, então. Como você vê o casamento de estilos e onde você acha que você pode vencer ele, onde você se vê mais forte do que ele no combate?
Meu adversário, o Song, é um cara jovem, é um cara que está chegando aí no UFC, lutou contra alguns oponentes muito bons, mas ele não lutou comigo ainda e eu acredito que nós temos características parecidas e essa luta é uma luta que vai divertir muito o público e eu estou muito preparado para ela.
Perfeito. Você é o número 10 do ranking hoje. Você vem de uma sequência negativa. Primeiro eu queria falar da pressão, não da pressão externa, mas todo lutador se coloca pressão, né, em busca da vitória. Por essa fase, acumular algumas derrotas, você se coloca uma pressão extra? E em cima disso, você sente talvez uma ameaça, apesar de ser o 10º do ranking, de repente poder ser desligado do UFC?
Cara, eu faço isso porque eu amo, entendeu? Eu faço o esporte para ter minha mão levantada no final. Eu hoje estou aqui, graças a Deus eu estou aqui porque eu quero competir, porque eu quero vencer. Então, eu quero ser o melhor Marlon. Então, a pressão é mais comigo mesmo. E quanto, lógico que a gente tem o nosso trabalho, a gente depende de estar vencendo para ser um funcionário da empresa que a gente trabalha, mas eu quero dar o meu melhor, eu quero vencer. Não importa se você pago para isso ou não, eu estou aqui para vencer, eu quero a vitória, eu vim aqui atrás da minha mão levantada.
Perfeito. Uma dúvida que eu tinha, eu falei isso, mais ou menos sobre isso com você, no início da sua caminhada no UFC, eu já te acompanhava no WSOF. Depois de tantos anos competindo, qual o trabalho mental que você precisa fazer hoje em dia para ter a motivação de levantar todo dia, sair na porrada todo dia? O quanto isso mudou na preparação mental, né? Em busca do resultado, em busca da vitória, mas dia após dia, não no camp, mas 365 dias por ano. Esse trabalho mental, qual ajuste você precisou fazer ao longo dos anos?
Cara, é um trabalho assim difícil de dizer, porque eu sinceramente eu penso em ser o melhor a cada dia e tentar todos os dias visualizar e evoluir em todas as áreas. É o que eu venho tentando fazer e a gente tem uma assessoria mental com o UFC também e tem sido importante para mim esse trabalho de focar ali na minha vitória e o que mais importa para mim é ser o melhor Marlon a cada dia e a cada luta.
Podemos esperar o melhor Marlon nesse sábado?
Com certeza, estou preparado para isso e acredito que todos vocês têm que assistir a minha luta, que vai ser uma luta muito boa.
Perfeito. Para finalizar, então, se eu pudesse só avisar os... a pergunta é por que os fãs que vão ver a luta devem assistir a sua luta neste sábado? O que eles podem esperar do Marlon no octógono?
Cara, essa luta aí com o Song não tem como ser uma luta chata. Assistam que vai ser muito explosiva.
Hello.
Hello. Khalil, obviously, last time out, very, very impressive, violent victory. I guess how big was that for you to pick up a win like that?
It was big. It felt good to get a victory for sure.
Do you ever? I mean, you had a couple setbacks, but I know you believe in yourself. But does doubt ever start to creep in a little bit? Like, well, you know, what's going on? Why am I not getting the results?
So, I'm sure you've interviewed thousands of fighters, and they'd probably all say the same thing. There's no running from things like small doubts and stuff. It just happens. It's a part of competition. It's a part of wanting to be the best. So the answer is yes, but I mean, it really doesn't matter. It's just a part of the game, you know?
No question. After that big win last time out, 6 months, I guess, have gone by. Was that by design? Was that good? I mean, did you need some time away or want some time away, or is it just the way the schedule worked out?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of always like that. All of my fights are usually split, you know, about 6 months apart. It's pretty normal. Yeah, pretty normal.
Let's say, is that a good routine for you? I mean, do you wish they'd book you faster, or do you kind of enjoy being away from the game a little bit?
I'm going to say that I enjoy it because I'm used to it. Yeah.
Fair enough. What has been the focus in the time since, man? I mean, has there been a particular aspect of your game or maybe even your life outside that you've really been focused on in this past 6 months?
Yeah, I think overall the focus has just been to be a better man, you know, like whatever that means to me, and whatever, you know, it's just be a better man. Just if that means work harder, if it means treat people differently, if it means, you know, save your money, just everything has just been, my focus is just, and the question that I ask myself is just how can I be a better man through and through? And it transfers over to training, it transfers over to, you know, my romantic life, my family life, everything. So that's just overall been my focus.
That's awesome. Was there something that happened that made you come to that realization that you need to ask, or is it just maturing and growing in life?
I think it has a lot to do with maturing, realizing just where I'm at right now, fighting in the UFC, what type of legacy or like impact I want to make. How do I want to be perceived? How do I want to handle things like answering media questions and dealing with, you know, just everything that comes with life, you know? Yeah, it's just, it's a maturing thing. I think that, yeah, I'm just ready to just be better all around in life.
I guess maybe just realizing, I mean, the sport, it's funny, like your job is to get and fight, but there's so much more to it than that, right? Is that just kind of a realization that just this training every day to get in a cage fight, that's a very little minuscule part of life?
Yeah, I think the fighting part is what we do, right? We go and we train a lot of the people who are fighters that, you know, like we chose to step into this and to do this, but you know, all of the other stuff, maybe for some, but the other stuff to me is a bit foreign. You know, something that, you know, I would like to practice getting used to and embracing, right? Because it's not like every day I'm going to the gym and sitting in front of a table of people answering questions. And there's something that I just spoke to Paul Felder about, and the broadcast crew. They mentioned that I take time to think about what I'm going to say, and it's true, because what I say here goes on the record, and I want to make sure that what I say here is true. And if I go back, or if somebody says something to me about what I said, that it's like it was honest. Does that make sense? So like, yeah, a lot of this a lot of, I don't know, I'm just ranting now, but hopefully that answers your question. Yeah.
It absolutely does. Fighting back in the United States, I'm curious, is it nice, like comfortable, or do you kind of, part of me thinks that you like the adventure maybe of going elsewhere and fighting elsewhere?
I've never fought else. I mean, I've fought elsewhere, but I enjoy it. I miss Thailand a lot. You know, that place really made a huge impact on my life. And there's a bunch of people there that I love and care about, like family. And just the people and the culture, I miss it. But I also enjoy being home. I enjoy being able to see, you know, my mother and my family and things like that. So I try not to get too caught up in, you know, what I don't have and, you know, what's not right here.
Question. You got this matchup with Karl. Just curious kind of what you think about him as an athlete, as a fighter, what you see in his game.
I prefer not to answer the question.
Fair enough. On paper, it seems like it's going to be a pretty explosive matchup. Do you at least believe that your styles coming together will probably create for a very action-packed fight?
Yeah, I can't answer that one. And I think that the fans will be pleased.
Awesome. Last thing for me, I guess, what's the most important thing for you on Saturday? You know, is it registering another victory and getting your hand raised, or is it more just like going out there and performing in a certain way and knowing that you did something that you wanted to do or live to your fullest? I mean, what's most important for you?
Victory.
Hey, Khalil.
Hey.
So you acted in your first movie. Just kind of tell us about that, and did you enjoy it?
Yeah, so I acted in my first movie just a few months ago. It's set to release this couple months. It was awesome. I just got a phone call from an acquaintance, actually a direct message from an acquaintance who ran into some directors at a bar, and they were making an MMA movie, and somehow my name got brought up in the conversation. Then I got the message, exchanged numbers, and they're like, hey, we'd love for you to audition for this. So I did it, and right after the audition, they're like, we're not even going to waste time. We want you to have the part. And so I'd never acted or anything in my life, never even really knew it was something that, you know, like I wanted to do, but it was really enjoyable. And one of the coolest things is that I got to do it alongside of some of MMA's biggest names: Anderson Silva, Rampage Jackson, Czech Congo, Higa Machado. I mean, there's so many of us in the movie, and it's going to be really exciting to see it on the big screen and just to see, I'd say, yeah, to see myself doing something, you know, besides fighting on, you know, on a big screen. It's just it's a really cool thing to think about that's going to happen. Yeah.
Did you enjoy like the acting process? And
it was so cool. It was amazing. Yeah, just being on set. Studying lines, you know, in my trailer, just thinking like, okay, you know, I got to get into character. I've got to, you know, remember all of these lines, and just the people and the atmosphere of the set, the crew was amazing. So yeah, I enjoyed it. It was really cool.
Do you see yourself acting again?
Yeah, I would love to. I would definitely love to. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. And then on another one of your posts, you said that you moved to New York City. Do you live there now?
So I spend a good like half and half. I do have a place here in Vegas, and when it's time to train, then, you know, I have all of my belongings in my car and stuff here. But when I'm not training, then yeah, I live in New York, so it's 50-50. Yeah.
What made the move to New York?
So my girlfriend was living there already, and then we were locked down together in Thailand because we were both in Thailand at the same time. So when we decided to come back to America, we just like, she's like, hey, I still want to live in New York, and I'm like, hey, I still want to live in Vegas. So we just made it work both ways to where we share homes in both places.
So you've lived in California, Vegas, Thailand now, New York. Is there like a favorite place you've lived so far?
Thailand by far. Yeah, Bangkok, Thailand. Forever, yeah.
And then finally for me, on one of your posts you said that last year that you met a bunch of people from all sorts of backgrounds.
I don't know if you're familiar with Ebro Darden. He's like a radio hub from the initial meeting. So I'd say like a mixture of that.
Now for me, it's just about execution.
Nice. What do you think about him as a fighter? I mean, there's not a whole lot of tape on him just because we've been getting it done.
Get the W. So I'm not expecting fireworks. I'm expecting to figure out what problems he showcases, and I'm going to find the answer to those problems.
Right. Last thing for me, it's kind of funny because you kind of maybe touched on it, but I mean, would you rather go out there and have another fight of the night, amazing, and you take an L, or you go out there and it's the most boring fight you've ever had in your entire life, but you walk away with a victory?
Neither. I'm going for performance of the nights. Like it's not going to be fight of the nights anymore. I mean, that's really up to him. But man, I'm being a more intelligent fighter. So if it's just a complete, landslide, then yeah, I'll take that one.
Hey Drew. Who were some of your training partners this camp?
My main training partner?
Yeah.
Oh man, Team Elevation's got a long roster of great people. So just everybody. I mean, Justin Gaethje, Neil Magny, even the local promotions. Just working with so many different people. Like I'd have to bring out a list up here if I was going to start naming.
Some of the fans figured out that you're a nerdy side, and you even called yourself a hybrid nerd. I guess just kind of talk about your other side outside of being a must-watch fighter.
Oh man, so yeah, I can't run, jump, or catch a ball. So in high school, I wasn't that guy. So as far as current, I play video games constantly, and I play the super nerdy ones. I've been touching up on the Total Warhammer 3 that just came out, real-time strategy. Dude, it goes deep. So.
And I guess just do video games give you a release from just the hardships of being a professional fighter?
Yeah. I think with video games and fantasy books and the sci-fi and all that nerdy stuff, it takes you to a different world, and it's a break away from all the things you have to do in this current world. And so I personally enjoy it, getting lost in a book, video game, or even a weird movie.
Awesome, man. And finally for me, Justin Gaethje's fighting Charles Oliveira in a couple months. I just want your thoughts on that matchup, and do you think your teammate takes the title?
I think Charles Oliveira gets caught in that first round, and Justin Gaethje's not the guy to get caught with. I mean, he hits hard and hits hard accidentally. I've been punched by him so often, and some of them I don't remember. But so I mean, my prediction is Justin's going to showcase another beautiful fight, and I will definitely be there.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys.
Sodiq, I know the last one was a little frustrating. Came up short there. I guess kind of what do you make of that performance, and what did you take out of it?
I took a lot out of that performance, man. You know, I think even though I've been doing this for a while, there's still little lessons to be learned. You know, and when I rewatched the fight, I remember in the process, like in that, especially the third round, I was still focused on trying to win the round instead of trying to get a finish, which is the first time I ever found myself in that position in my career, you know. So there was a lot of lessons I learned out of it, you know. To be honest, I felt like my performance was decent. I got caught with 2 bad shots, one in the one round and one in the next round, and that's what lost me both rounds. And I saw the stats and all the fans talking like, man, he was outstriking him, blah, blah. It doesn't really matter, you know. At the end of the day, those 2 mistakes are something that's technical, and I was able to work on them during camp.
Very nice. 11 months. Was that by design?
No, definitely not. You know, before this one too was a long one, and after the fight with Arnold, I got really sick. Like I got COVID really, really bad, and I was out for a long time. I think I was out of the gym for maybe like 2-3 months. So it was really health issues that kept me away. I wanted to be a lot more busy.
Didn't know what that was. So like, when you got back, were there any like long-term complications, or did you just get through that 2-3 months and then you were okay?
Yeah. Well, no, it was. I kept on having the same symptoms I had from my original COVID sickness. It just never went away, and then it got to the point where it was affecting training, and I didn't know what was going on, so I was making it worse without realizing. I thought whenever I would feel the fatigue or the body aches and stuff like that, I was like, oh man, you're just being soft, so try to push through it. I'll go on like long runs and stuff like that. And then sooner or later, it got to the point where it wasn't just affecting practice anymore. And it's like, I'll just be at home in the kitchen and like my body starts hurting or I feel like going to sleep, you know. And it was really, really bad. So I just had to take a lot of time off. And when I came back to the gym, it was like, it wasn't something that was just a straight line. It was like, it'll be okay, and then it'll be bad again. It'll be okay, it'll be bad again. So I had to base it. The way I try to look at it was like, if I could make it through a full week of practice, then I'm good. So I just kept on doing it like that. I'll have 2 good days, 1 bad day, 3 good days, 1 bad day, all the way on to the point where, okay, I had a full month of training now. And after that happened, that's when I talked to my coach, and I was like, okay, let's try to get a fight now. And then I've been good for a long time now. So fingers crossed everything's behind me.
That's awesome, man. Glad to hear. All right, match up with Alex Caceres. I mean, a guy that's been doing it for a long time, right? So when this was the name that was given to you, what was your initial thought?
Yeah, man, it's really cool, man. I'm at the point of my career now where like a lot of the guys I'm going to be fighting are people that I was watching back in the day. You know, I like Bruce Leroy. You know, I like the way he fight. Like he's the original OG anime guy. You know, I'm an anime guy too. So it's cool, man. I like the matchup.
That's awesome. What do you think about his evolution, right? Because I mean, he's been doing this for a long time, and it seems like he's better than ever right now. So if you've been watching him all this time growing up, what do you think is, what do you evaluate on right now that's working so well?
Well, I think probably just ring time. You know, at the end of the day, we can't make up for that. Like some people are more talented than others, but that ring time is something that also plays a big part in it. So I think he's also has some pretty good matchups too. You know, so that plays a little bit into it.
Nice. Is there? I don't want to say starstruck, but will it be? Do you think it'll be a little bit weird when you jump in there and you're like, I'm in the octagon with this guy?
Not really, because I was a bigger fan of Andre Philly. And that was a pretty good one too. So it's not the starstruck. I feel like if the starstruck thing would have happened, it would have already happened then. Like most of these guys is like, it's just I was a big UFC fan before I was a fighter. So any of the old school guys I was watching them already coming up, you know. So I think I might have even asked Alice for a picture back in the days. So it's pretty cool, man. I don't think any starstruck thing is gonna happen though.
That's cool. Is it almost, I guess, like a confirmation in yourself? You know what I mean?
Exactly. Because when I was a kid growing up, I used to have like vivid dreams of me getting like in the UFC, like me going through media day. Not even me fighting in the cages, like me going through like the media stuff. You know, like I have dreams about fighting Jeremy Stevens and stuff like that. So it's just like you said, it's a confirmation of where I thought I would be.
That's awesome, man. So in terms of getting in there, Do you feel like there's adjustments that have to be, you mentioned kind of the mindset that you were in that last fight. I mean, do you have to make like wholesale changes to the way you approach things, or is it just minor adjustments?
It's minor stuff, It's just I feel like one of the biggest things I definitely worked on is being able to get back, because sometimes I get into like a fight and I start going off like instincts, So I have to be able to address myself, and that's something that I actually worked on with some of the guys that back home. I had a hypnotherapy sessions. I did a lot of them at Journey Within Wellness in Maryland. So that really helped me out with tapping into being able to be more, not even like being able to take myself into the fight and take myself out of the fight, like thinking while I'm in there, not thinking too much, but at least being able to think. Like my thing is like there's certain fighters that they overthink at all. I mean, they overthink, but with me it's like I don't think at all when I'm in there. It's like an outer body experience. So I definitely want to work on being able to, hey Sodiq, it's time for us to switch it around. You don't have to win the round, man. You have to try to get a finish.
Nice. And I guess maybe that kind of plays into it, because I was wondering, like, is it just a matter of just, hey, let's just go get our hand raised, or do you feel like you want to do something kind of spectacular? Because, yeah, there was so much hype around you, right? Like, this is the next guy right here. And then, you know how it is, one loss and everything's off the tracks or whatever. So
that it's fickle fans, one loss and the fans forget all about you. But with me, I've never really been the guy that goes in there like I gotta do something spectacular. It's just natural. It's the way I fight, So I've always been to prioritize winning over anything. But the way that I fight is the path to get that win is always going to be exciting.
Very nice. I guess last thing for me, what kind of fight do you think we see? I mean, is this one where you're going to get pushed and tested, by this veteran, or is this one where you can go in there and you can show that you're the next generation? What kind of fight do we see?
To be honest, I don't know. My goal is to go in there. Trust me. When these fighters tell you they're trying to go get a 3-round war, they're all lying. If I could walk in there and touch them once and walk out, that would be the perfect day.
Hey, Sodiq. How frustrating has it been only fighting once a year for the past 2 years?
Very, very. It's super depressing. It's like, especially the year before this one was like frustrating. But last year is not frustrating because now I'm dealing with my health. There's a difference between being frustrated about fighting and not thinking you're gonna be jacked up for the rest of your life. I was really, really scared. I actually called my coach. I was telling him about like, man, I think I might be done with fighting. It took a long time for me to find. I didn't know anything about long haul COVID symptoms because I didn't. A lot of stuff people was figuring out on the go. So I didn't know that, your body's still acting like you're sick, So it was very, very depressing. But, hey, we're on the other side now.
Yes. When you were thinking about, with your sickness and those thoughts were coming in, like, maybe I won't be fighting anymore, like, what were your thoughts going on?
To be honest, man, the biggest thing was me trying to how am I going to tell like my family that I'm sick? Because a lot of people didn't even know I was really sick like that outside of my coaches, I'm sure a lot of you guys know I lost 2 brothers already, so I didn't want to put that thought out there and have my mom panicking, so it was one of those things I kind of kept to myself for a long time, and by the time I figured out what was going on, I was able to present it in a much better way.
And then on a more positive note, how has it been watching your fellow Nigerian fighters just dominating right now?
It's very, very inspirational. It's really, really cool because when I was coming up, you just try to hold on to anything that you can. So when you see like Rampage Jackson fighting out there, I was like, oh man, okay, that's another black guy. That dude looks cool, blah blah blah. And then when I finally saw Usman on The Ultimate Fighter, I was like, oh crap, is a Nigerian nightmare. It's like it meant the world to me, man. And now these guys are out there catching belts, like pound for pound #1. It's very, very inspirational, man. And I hope one day kids could look at me like that too.
And finally, how important is it to be fighting on the same card as your teammate Tafon?
It's really cool, man, because man, we're from PG County, man. PG County, Maryland. It's like, look at there's two guys in PG County, Maryland out there on the UFC. We're out here representing. Where we're from is like MMA wrestling is a lot more popular now. But when I was a kid in high school and I was telling people I'm gonna be in the UFC when I'm older, blah blah, it's like some didn't even know what that was, and the ones that did know what it was, like, man, yeah, You ain't doing that, man. But look at us out here, man. We representing the DMV. Both of us are fighting on the same card. It's super cool.
Awesome. Thank you.
Alex, we talked to you after your last big win at Madison Square Garden, but I'm just curious, kind of once you got home and reflected on it, what you took out of that whole experience.
A gente conversou com você depois da sua última luta no Madison Square Garden, mas gostaria de saber, depois que você chegou em casa, refletiu sobre a sua vitória, o que você tira de bom dela?
Foi uma vitória espetacular, fiquei muito feliz. E o que eu tiro de bom é que os treinos tá sinistro, tá perfeito. E estou mantendo isso e evoluindo para cada vez fazer melhor.
Wow, was a spectacular win, and it displays for myself. I take from that we're on the right way on the training. Training is doing very good, and we just keep doing it.
Now you get to a little bit more humble arena here in the UFC Apex, not the big packed arena of Madison Square Garden. Is that disappointing to you at all, or are you just excited to be competing again?
Agora uma arena um pouquinho menor, né, no Apex, não é uma gigante como o Madison Square Garden. Você te desaponta um pouco ou tudo beleza?
Não, tá tudo certo. Claro, é muito bom estar ali, o calor do público, não tem coisa melhor. Mas isso é trabalho, né? Então a gente tem que fazer dessa forma, então tem que aceitar.
Well, everybody misses the crowd and everything, but this is work, right? So we got to accept it and keep going.
Talk to me about your training and focus in the 4 months since. I mean, is it wrestle and grapple every single day, just trying to get that better, or is it still striking and working on that and keeping it sharp?
Como é que está o seu treino hoje em dia? Tá uma trocação, tem bastante grappling ou é mais trocação e mantendo afiado?
Eu acho que meio a meio, né? Eu não posso também, né, porque eu migrei pro MMA, que eu tenho que fazer só a parte de chão, porque é aonde que eu tenho que aprender mais. Eu acho que vem fazendo um bom trabalho, né, na parte em pé, e eu tenho que manter e aprender, evoluir na parte da luta agarrada.
Well, today is 50-50, so I can't just forget, because I went to MMA, I'm going to forget training, striking training and fully merging into grappling, so I keep 50-50, I keep doing my good striking and getting better as a grappler.
What do you think about Bruno Silva as an opponent? He's looked pretty impressive so far in his UFC run.
O que você acha do blindado como seu oponente? Ele está bem impressionando aí na sequência de vitória deles do UFC. O que você acha?
Eu acho que vai ser uma luta dura, um adversário duro. Isso eu já tenho em mente. É um cara que vem fazendo aí o seu nome fora do UFC e agora com essas 3 vitórias por nocaute é um cara perigoso. Então eu tenho isso em mente, mas eu treinei muito para lutar com ele.
Well, very tough opponent. Had 3 hard fights, 3 hard wins, and respect him a lot as an opponent. He's a hard opponent, but I'm training hard for him.
Another impressive victory here. Are you looking at the rankings already? Normally we wouldn't do that with somebody with only 2 fights in the UFC, but obviously your background makes you different. So are you looking for the rankings after a win like this?
Digamos aí, ganhando essa luta, depois dessa vitória, não é normal um cara com 2 lutas do UFC estar subindo no ranking, mas você já está olhando lá para frente já para subir?
Eu não estava pensando nisso, né? Mas a gente está sendo bem falado, a gente está mostrando que a gente tem que estar no meio dos cabeças ali. Então eu acho que com a vitória aí em cima do blindado eu vou estar bem falado e vou estar junto com a galera ali.
Well, all what I came thinking, but people are talking good, we're doing good work, and I think if we do another good work, we belong amongst the top ones.
I guess last thing for me, I mean, how long until Israel Adesanya has to start worrying about your name again? We feel like you were brought here to fight him.
Quanto tempo até o Adesanya começar a ter que se preocupar sobre o seu nome? Pensando que você foi trazido aqui para lutar com ele.
Não entendi.
Há quanto tempo até você achar que o Adesanya tem que começar a se preocupar com você aqui e já pensando que você foi trazido para lutar com ele?
Eu acho que quando ele soube que eu assinei, eu acho que a preocupação dele já ficou grande, né? Porque ele sabe do meu potencial e sabe onde eu posso chegar.
Honestly, the moment that he find out that I signed right here, I believe that he's already been worrying about because he knows of my potential and he knows how far I can get.
Fala, Alex, tudo bom? Vou fazer em português direto aqui. Queria, para começar, que você falasse a importância dos treinos com o Glover, com o Elton Turma, como está o camp lá e em quesito de evolução, né? O que te adicionou para esse camp em específico?
Bom, desde quando eu cheguei lá no Glover, né, com a minha vontade de treinar, de aprender, evoluir,
e ele disposto a me ajudar com incentivo, não só incentivando, mas me ensinando muitas coisas aí que só ele sabe fazer. Então, assim, eu vejo a grande importância de estar treinando com ele, treinando num time que a energia está muito boa mesmo, desde a primeira rodada, com a vitória dele, né, campeão, Turma, depois eu, foram aí nessas 3 lutas, 3 bônus da noite, e a gente está mostrando que, a gente está fazendo certo. Então, assim, para mim está muito bom, é muito importante treinar com ele.
Show. Você, como todo mundo sabe, tem um background muito grande no kickboxing, é reconhecido na modalidade. Seu adversário também é da luta em pé, mas o currículo dele, apesar de ser trocador, é no MMA. E a gente sabe que tem uma diferença do kickboxing para a trocação no MMA. Em cima disso, eu gostaria que você analisasse as habilidades do seu rival, como é o casamento de luta, principalmente em pé, né, entre vocês.
Eu acho que é uma luta boa para mim, por mais que seja um cara perigoso, mas eu treino muito, vejo algumas falhas nele, que é onde eu posso me dar bem, né? Lógico, também vejo muitas qualidades nele. Não vou tirar o mérito dele, é um cara que, igual eu falei, essas 3 vitórias por nocaute, então, não é um Zé Ninguém, entendeu? O cara tá vindo aí, tá mostrando aqui o porquê que estão falando bem dele. Mas eu também tô igual ele, as pessoas falando, e então acho que foi uma luta que casou muito bem.
Certo. Você já tem inúmeros títulos e vitórias, principalmente no Glória. Você acha que isso pode encurtar o seu caminho rumo ao topo, até mesmo rumo ao cinturão? É essa a sua expectativa? Você pretende trabalhar em cima disso?
Desde quando eu cheguei para ser campeão, né? Aonde eu chego, eu quero chegar no topo. Assim como foi no Glória, eu quero fazer isso dentro do UFC. E eu tenho chance para isso, estou trabalhando para isso e é isso que eu quero.
Certo. Uma outra pergunta que é uma curiosidade, na verdade. Muita gente imagina quando vai ser o teste um dia que você vai enfrentar um wrestler ou um grappler de alto calibre da categoria. Existe no seu time, no seu manager, uma preocupação de, entre aspas, obviamente, escolher os adversários corretos, os atletas que...
Cara, a gente vai lutar com qualquer um, né? Eu falo para você, eu estou treinando tô treinando com o Glover, que é um cara aí que vocês estão vendo que ele tá fazendo. E, ele me fala todos os dias, não só me fala e eu vejo, entendeu? O treino que a gente faz e o que ele faz nas lutas, eu falo, cara, o cara é sinistro, né? A gente está treinando ali, ele também tem uma dificuldade também, às vezes, de me colocar para baixo, quando coloca, eu tô subindo, entendeu? Eu tô treinando bem. E eu vejo que ninguém faz isso com ele nas lutas, entendeu? Então, prova melhor do que essa não tem, então eu tô pronto para qualquer um.
Show de bola. Para finalizar, então, Potan, obviamente não tem como esconder, o atual campeão, invicto na categoria, no MMA, pelo menos nessa divisão, é o Adesanya. Você já venceu ele 2 vezes. Já te perguntaram, é uma pergunta que faz meses que você responde sobre isso. E você já falou sobre isso hoje. Você vencendo essa luta, você acha que é do seu planejamento já começar a subir o tom e desafiar ele nominalmente, já pedir pelo cinturão na sequência, pedir pelo campeão, devido ao histórico que vocês têm entre vocês dois?
Eu não sei, isso não depende de mim. Eu não gosto de ficar falando muito, que eu não gosto de trazer a responsabilidade para mim, né? É diferente se me perguntasse e o responsável falar o que você escolher, me fala que a gente vai fazer. Então, assim, isso não está no meu poder, né? E isso não depende só de mim. Mas eu vou estar pronto para ele ou para quem seja, qualquer hora. Obrigado.